This is gonna suck. Welcome to Mike and Dave Hit the Stage. I am Dave.
I am Mike.
And this is gonna be the first time we're trying to record video as well as audio.
Yeah. I'm feeling
is
kind of
gonna be
self-conscious already. I don't know if I should look there or look at you or both. Hi.
You cross-eyed it?
I don't know.
Yeah, either way, it's gonna be a little funky because, first run, we're goofy.
Yeah.
And our topic today is actually a good one. I think really, this is gonna be one of my favorite topics.
Yeah.
This and covers, which is coming way later. But today we're going to be talking about side projects and side projects for the bands that we like.
Yes.
And one of the things I did was no research on your side.
I did a little research on yours. I just wanted to see who was in the bands. A couple of them I knew. A couple of them I did not. So I looked into those.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I actually didn't look into any band members or history or anything like that.
Well, you know one of mine.
Yeah. I know one.
Yeah.
And the rest are a mystery.
All right.
Yeah. When I first saw our first one on the topic is Mad Season. And the only reason I know this is because of my friends, Nicole and Nikki. They're two different people.
Okay.
And they were obsessed with Alice in Chains.
Okay.
And my friend Rachel. And so if I hadn't heard of Jerry Cantrell's Degradation Trip or Mad Season, I would have been excommunicated from our friendship.
Now, did you ever listen to Mad Season?
This is actually the first time I ever listened to it.
Okay, so I picked the River of Deceit for the song.
Yes.
By the way, putting this list together, I listened to almost the whole album because I wanted to pick
The right song.
right. And this it's the most popular song. It was the radio song. I think they had one other song that was on the radio also. I don't remember offhand which one it was. But the whole album is awesome. And by the way, also, I didn't realize this, that Mike McCready from Pearl Jam is in this. And as soon as I remembered that, I could hear it in the music.
Okay. You said it and I was like, okay, that makes sense.
Listen to it, right? Play the guitar in your head, right? That's a Pearl Jam sound.
And it's funny because I never listened to Mad Season before. And I'm like, this is pretty good. This song was a little bit of a pull for me because it's so drawn out.
Right.
But it is very much like Lane Staley's vocals. They're there and they're very purposeful in their style.
Right.
So
and that's
the music
why I picked,
is slow in that
That's
style.
why I picked this song, is because it displayed him.
Yes.
Right. And it displayed him by himself without Alice in Chains.
Yeah, and that's one thing we almost never got to see.
Right. It was always a split thing.
Yep.
And you didn't get to see the full range of what he could do. And there's so much more on this album that he could do.
Oh, absolutely.
That shows what he could do.
And for those who don't know, Alice in Chains was really a collaboration of vocals between Jerry Cantrell and Lane Staley.
Right.
Those very much, if they were not writing together, there was no writing. Mm-hmm. Like that's why those albums were so important. Like the backup vocals were as important. Jerry Cantrell's vocals were as important as Lane Staley's.
Right.
And without one, the other didn't make sense.
Yeah.
But in this, he shined on his own.
Well, I think that's why he probably did this to show his talent.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it never went past this.
There's many complaints about how Alice in Chains in that iteration got cut short by Lane Staley's drug abuse.
Yeah.
And eventually.
And I mean, they went on. They found a guy that fit. I mean, I still like
William Duvall is
like
fantastic.
the Alice in Chains of the modern Alice in Chains.
Oh, definitely.
And but it's different. It's different from when Lane Staley was in there.
But like our replacements, which we didn't even mention Alice in Chains in the replacements.
Well, there's so many we could have done.
I know. But specifically for Alice in Chains, their replacement wasn't a sound-alike.
No.
It was a
which is what I like about it, is that they didn't try to replace him vocally. They just knew they needed a second vocalist
and guitarist. They got a second guitarist out of it.
Okay.
Because he plays guitar. That's actually one of my favorite performances that they did outside of Alice in Chains was the tribute to Heart.
Okay.
So they had Ann and Nancy Wilson, Duff, all the members of Alice in Chains, and a bunch of other people, but they did Heart songs. And one of the best ones, they played Barracuda with Gretchen Wilson and Ann Wilson.
Okay.
Gretchen, not related. Just really powerful voice. Real far back on the mic.
Yeah.
But amazing power.
Yeah.
Very much like. I'm sorry, Nancy Wilson. Ann Wilson's the singer. So Nancy Wilson and Gretchen Wilson, and Ann Wilson when she sings, super powerful voice, almost operatic in her power.
Yeah.
And William Duvall right back there playing main riff right behind Jerry Cantrell and Nancy Wilson.
I gotta hear that.
Fantastic. This song there's such a malaise to it.
It's a sadness. It definitely is.
It's you can feel the depression in it.
Yeah.
But it's really good.
But the funny thing is that that always pointed out after the person dies or
that you can see it
that
in their
when you
writing
listen,
or their work.
For example, I always bring up, I don't know if I brought it up on here, but speaking to you outside is and I don't listen to them, but Chester.
Oh, Chester Bennington from Linkin Park.
Yeah. You listen to the words, and I'm like, holy, he was saying it the whole time.
Yep.
And nobody picked it up.
I
guess people picked it up, but they thought it was theater or whatever,
or
because
they were connecting with it on a level.
Right.
Linkin Park, although I'm not a huge fan or a fan at all, the connection that they made with their fans is very tangible.
Right.
And my friend Omar is a huge Linkin Park fan, and he that's what got him is that depression in the music and the writing. But I think that's what any great writer that passes on, Lane Staley, if you listen to even I Fade Away and stuff like that, you can feel it.
The whole Dirt album, when you listen to that, Down in a Hole, and it's like, wow.
As you said it, there was a shiver down my spine. I love that album.
That's a great album. Yeah.
Dirt is so magical. But this, I want to bring it back to Mad Season because I knew so little about it. Mm-hmm. I knew who it was when I saw it because I knew the name, but I knew nothing of them. Mm-hmm. I knew one member,
right?
But now I know two,
right?
What year was this?
This was.
It's got to be 92, 3.
I was at the end of high school, so yeah,
like 1545.
Yeah, of course. I'm not that much older than you, bro.
I know. I only get to take those shots once in a while. You and Angry Wizard Mike are the only two I get to punch up.
Well, let me bring this up also so we don't get yelled at. But the drummer was also Barrett Martin from the Screaming Trees.
Okay, so it was a Seattle.
It's when I looked it up because
it was a Seattle special.
It's considered a super group. So not a side project, but I consider it a side project.
Well, when we do super groups, you can include it on super groups too.
Put another one.
Now that just gets the ability to throw it into another branch. Mm-hmm. So now, this one is contestable whether or not it's a side project, but Halford.
Okay.
Rob Halford's solo band Halford.
Yeah.
Technically, he wasn't in Judas Priest when it started.
Yeah, but it could be a side because the way I look at it is your main band. His main band would have been Judas Priest, no matter what.
Oh yeah,
that's what he's known for.
Definitely.
Right? So here's what I want to bring up first. The first time when you sent me the playlist, I looked at it and I went, really? I don't think there is an episode, that maybe one or two, that we have not brought up Rob Halford or Judas Priest. Yeah,
there's a reason for that.
Okay, I know. So here's what I want to say is, and by the way, I've been feeling real bad about the F. Mariah thing because there are people who like her. I mean,
just remember what's coming and what I say about other singers.
No, I know, but I just want to say that this is my new thing. I'm just going to say Hail Halford.
Halford is it's not only because he's an amazing singer. He's an amazing showman. Mm-hmm. He's an amazing person. He's an amazing writer. Not on his own.
Right.
These albums are this is one of the things I want to get to. The first couple of albums, he had a great group of guys writing with him. Mm-hmm. And then those guys weren't writing on the remainder of the albums. So this is very indicative of a collaboration between writers.
Oh, so you can tell the difference once it... Yeah.
He did a Christmas album.
Uh-huh.
And he did another, his third album and fourth album. Third album was Made of Metal, mm-hmm. and his fourth album was a Christmas. I think it's called Get Into the Spirit. They're terrible.
But how could you mess up a Christmas album when the songs are already written? There's no.
They're not just Christmas songs. They're songs about Christmas
that he wrote.
Yeah. I'm not. I feel terrible. Like, I love Rob Halford. There's very little he can do wrong, but that album was it's not that it's a bad album.
Right.
It's well produced. I don't like the songs. The same thing with Made of Metal. There's like one song that's kind of good, but a little cheesy.
Yeah.
And the rest of them I just are forgettable. But these first two Halford albums, Resurrection and what's the name of the second one? I remember by its title track, but not its title track, but my favorite track.
Yeah.
But they're amazing albums. They're fantastic. Like beginning to end, top to bottom, they're amazing. This album, Resurrection, when it first goes, like it kicks in, you at the time it was released in 2000. People hadn't really heard from Halford in a Judas Priest kind of light in almost a decade. The last album was the last album that was really featured was Painkiller.
Okay.
So nobody heard him really sing publicly, like concert wise, was since Painkiller. The next one was Fight, War of Words, and Fight and stuff. He had a different voice. He was going deeper.
Yeah.
And then when it hit, when Two Voyeurs came out, the collaboration with Nine Inch Nails, that was completely different. There was nothing of his screaming or this type of metal. And then with this album specifically, he picked really good musicians. Metal Mike Chalasiak, Bobby Jarzombek on drums, Ray Renato on bass, and then his lead guitarist was Roy Z, his producer, live, but his recording was Pat Latchman, the singer from Damage Plan, who also played guitar.
Right.
He's the one. He's the one who left to join Damage Plan.
Yeah.
This is an amazing band.
Yeah.
And this song is just it's a punch to the face, one right after another. And this album it's one after another, amazing songs, including the ballad.
Is this the opening song? Is this the first song on the album?
Title track.
Yeah.
And opening track.
Yeah. Now it starts out. It's a little pet peeve of mine. I hate that whole build up. That whole fade up into the song thing. Really irks me.
That irks you?
Yeah. Because it's just. Listen, that album came out in 2000, right?
Yeah.
And the album that makes me think of that all the time is Kill 'Em All, where they come hit the lights, like kind of fades in, and it almost makes. When I was a kid, I thought that was a live concert. Like I thought it was like
because it gives you that feeling.
That feeling of a live show.
Halford doesn't have that feeling. It doesn't have the feeling of a live event. It has his voice coming in is almost, to me, like going, yeah, I can still do this.
Yeah, okay. You know what? I didn't look at it that way.
And then the album is that, because he does most of that in Scream.
Yeah.
That most of that album is in Scream.
Okay.
And there's a couple of parts where he's actually like level singing, but everything else is in that super high pitch. And it's really just to prove like, yeah, Judas Priest
back then he was still in his 50s, right?
Yeah.
Because he's 74 now?
74. So he was, not only that, at that time, Judas Priest was touring with Tim Owens, who was known for being able to hit those pitches. He's like, yeah, he can hit them.
Yeah, go F yourself.
But I did it first.
Yeah.
Which is also why when Judas Priest now is back together, they use none of Tim Owens' work. Unlike Iron Maiden, who's been using some of his replacement Blaze Bayley stuff. So when I picked this song, I'm like, Rob Halford he knew how to pick a band. He knew how to pick people he could write with. It was awesome. And just like, if you're going to have a solo project or a side project, this is the way to do it.
Oh yeah. And it wasn't Priest 2.
No.
When I listened to it,
which is a huge argument for me with KK Downing's band, KK's Priest.
He's trying to be
Priest Part 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't fit. It doesn't feel right. You like when I add Electric Boogaloo to everything.
I do, because I thought that was like a thing from my childhood. I didn't know it was like...
It's everybody's. Yeah. And if it's not, you missed out.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
So our third song, and these are going kind of fast because they're really easy to talk about.
Yeah.
Now we're going to get into the hard stuff because I had no clue who these guys were. This is Tall Cans in the Air by The Transplants.
Yes. So
no idea.
You no idea?
Not a clue.
Okay. So let's get into this. So Rancid, right, had a roadie, right, named Rob Aston, known Skinhead Rob. That's what they call him.
Okay.
Right? So Tim Armstrong from Rancid was playing with Pro Tools, and he made a few beats.
Okay.
And he wanted to... He showed them to Skinhead Rob, and Skinhead Rob said, "Hey, do you mind if I've written some lyrics?" He's more of a rap rocker kind of guy.
Okay. I can feel that with this.
Do you mind if we play around with it? So they did. It started working out. So they started going into the studio, and it was basically Rancid. It was Lars Fredrickson. It was Matt Freeman. It was Tim Armstrong, right? And they would play these songs in the studio.
Okay.
And then Tim Armstrong went, you know what? Why don't we just do this? So they went out, and it's Tim Armstrong, Skinhead Rob, and Travis Barker.
Ah, there it is.
Yes.
I was like, there's somebody in here that it feels pushed.
Yeah.
And not forced, but like led in a direction.
Uh-huh.
And now that you said Travis Barker, I can feel that. Like I can feel that his ability and influence is in there.
So this was off of their first album, right? They have another album. Their second album, you know, I don't like it as much. I like it, but I don't like it as much. But this first album has nothing but bangers to me. And again, it
Bangers.
was I know, talking to kids lingo.
Oh, you just made me nauseous.
So, this I listened to this whole album to pick this. I picked this one song. There's so many songs but I wanted to highlight both Skinhead Rob and Tim Armstrong because they both sing on it.
Okay.
Some of them it's just him. Some of them it's just Tim.
And
you
in
know?
this, it's both.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there were two singers. I couldn't quite pick out who was who because I didn't know who they were yet.
Yeah.
Now I know it's Tim Armstrong.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Like, and knowing that Travis Barker was in there
Yeah.
makes complete sense.
Now I saw them live. I saw, in my eyes, one of the greatest shows. It was Crown of Thorns.
I don't know who they are.
Okay, they're a New York hardcore band. It's Danny Diablo.
Okay, now I know who you're talking about.
One of his songs, one of his bands. H2O,
Who I know.
right?
Yeah.
Transplants, and then Rancid. So Tim did
Double
double
duty.
duty. It was phenomenal.
The idea of a musician doing double duty on a show like that
Right.
is insane. Like playing shows, I used to get exhausted.
And,
Like I'd come off the stage ready
Yeah.
to go to bed.
right. And then imagine the singer.
In my 20s, I was like that.
The singer who plays guitar and sings. You know?
Yeah, that's got to be rough.
I've seen it multiple times. Like there was another band I wanted to put on here. Toby from H2O has a side project called Hazen Street, which is him, the drummer from Cro-Mags and the bass player from Madball and the singer from Madball, Freddie. They did a rap.
I was saying
rock kind of
that's
thing.
the New York hardcorest thing you've ever said.
Yeah, and I saw them when they first started. I saw them at Knitting Factory, the one in the city, and then just the first concert back. Second concert back after
The lockdown.
the pandemic, was H2O and Madball, and then they did a Hazen Street portion.
Oh wow.
And the funniest part about that is that you could tell they did not practice. They were messing up, and it was fun to watch. But I looked around the crowd, and a lot of people didn't realize that.
It wasn't supposed to be like that.
Not that it wasn't supposed to be like that, but I don't even know if they knew who Hazen Street was, because Hazen Street did one album, and I think it came out in the. Was it the late '90s, early 2000s? So you got to think if you got a 20-year-old there that's seeing these bands,
They're seeing it for the first time.
They were babies when this album came out. You know, they were babies when the H2O and Madball albums came out. You know, they're still coming out with albums, but
So I was talking to somebody at work the other night, and they were born the year I graduated high school.
yeah, didn't that hurt?
And we have the same birthday.
Ew.
So it's not only like he's born on the same day, 19 years after me.
Oh, that's a lot more.
was
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I had
that's
I worked with a girl when I
18
when I
years.
sat at a desk. Her birthday was 21st. I'm 22nd of October, right? But like you said, she was like 10 or 12 years younger than me. So we used to call ourselves the Wonder Twins. And but, yeah, exactly. I know. I'm really making you sick this time.
Oh,
But come on, man. But but yeah, it hurt every time I was like, yeah, I'm turning 41. And she was like, I'm turning 30. I was like, ow. All right, cool.
years ago, I was working with a clerk, one of the clerks in the hospital. I was talking to her, not trying anything. This is before I met my wife, but I'm not trying anything. We're just having a normal conversation. And she mentioned that she was in school. I'm like, oh, you going for your master's? She goes, no, my bachelor's. I'm like, how old are you? She goes, 19. I said, if I had knocked up my first girlfriend, we'd have a you. Do you realize how old I am? She goes,
why?
You're that age? She goes, I didn't realize you were that old. I'm going to stop talking right now. I'm like,
wow.
yeah, we were both barking up wrong trees. Like I was having a nice conversation. I think she was trying to make a point, and then she realized I was old, and I'm like, no.
How did we get here?
I don't know. We're talking about being old.
Was that what it was?
Yeah. That's the only way I end up anywhere creepy. It's talking about being an old piece of shit.
So anyway, transplants. Yeah, I'm glad you didn't look these up because
yeah, I'm really enjoying new facts.
Yeah,
and the new facts on this one, I could feel a different, like it was definitely a weird drummer, a weird style, like a weird style for what it was. I'm like, there it is. Now when you said Travis Barker, I'm like, there it is.
Yeah.
So now the next one, and I figured this. I thought this might be a difficult listen for you.
Well,
for Glenn Tipton's Baptism of Fire.
No, loved it.
You really?
Oh, when it started, I was like, "What is this?" I knew Glenn. I knew Glenn Tipton.
Yeah,
but it took about halfway through to go. Is this just an instrumental? I was like, "This is," because don't get me wrong, I love a good instrumental. I love a middle of the the Metallica album instrumental or you know.
Well, my son's middle name is a Metallica instrumental.
What? Orion?
My son's middle name is Orion.
That's pretty funny. Not funny, but I mean,
well, it's not the only reason we named him Orion, but standing outside my parents' house, that's how I used to orient myself to home. Because standing outside this front door, I was able to look up and directly across the street that way, see the constellation Orion.
That's cool.
And now, same thing when I'm standing at where I live now, I look up, there it is.
So your front door lines up with this front door?
No, it doesn't, but I know where to look.
Oh.
I always know where to look to find Orion. When I find Orion, I know home is behind me.
Right.
And that's how I know where home is.
Okay.
So this is a supergroup.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this album is all
supergroups.
supergroups. There are multiple versions of bands on this album.
He's just the mainstay.
He's the only person on every track.
Okay.
There's also covers on this.
Now, let me ask you a question. Is there singing on any of them?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Actually, that's the funny thing because there is a cover of "Paint It Black" by the Rolling Stones.
Okay.
Which I don't know if you know this. It's very hard to get permission to do anything and record anything with the Rolling Stones name on it because they are very protective of their songs.
Now, I've heard "Paint It Black" done a million times though. Is that the only song they basically like go?
Yeah, they don't care.
Just take it.
But like, if you ever try to get like Satisfaction or any of those,
well, listen,
they
I don't
charge
blame them.
through the
I don't
nose.
blame them.
So with this one, this track on this album, Glenn Tipton playing guitar, Billy Sheehan from Mr. Big and Talus, Niacin, Winery Dogs, and Sons of Apollo, on bass.
Winery Dogs, by the way.
Yeah,
we're gonna go to that show. I better, you know.
You're gonna brush up.
I have to. I brush up. I have to start.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a good time. That's gonna be everybody's going to that show.
Yeah, yeah.
Cozy Powell's on drums from Rainbow. Mm-hmm. Cozy Powell died in a motorcycle accident in the early 2000s.
Okay.
Phenomenal drummer. As you can hear, his double basses.
Yeah.
And for a guy who played in Rainbow, which you wouldn't expect that level of speed from a classic rock kind of guy.
Yeah.
But even though Rainbow was very progressive, amazing. And then Don Airey on keyboards. And Don Airey played on Black Sabbath albums. He played on Rainbow and a few other bands. Always in the background. He's always the keyboard player, sometimes not even on stage.
Yeah.
You know, Black Sabbath has had a keyboard player with them almost their entire career. He's performing off the stage. Ozzy, he played with Ozzy. He was never physically on stage with Ozzy.
Now, why he didn't want to, or they just didn't want to show it?
It was a thing. I never understood it then. Like later Later on, he had towards the end with Scream and the last tours, he had Adam Wakeman on stage,
Okay.
playing keyboards, but he didn't want it to be like Dio and Malmsteen had a keyboard player on stage playing, out in the open.
But what?
I guess Sabbath wanted to keep it as rock and roll as possible, and I guess keyboards aren't rock and roll.
I don't get that.
It's one of those things I disagree with.
And if it's in the song,
and there's a lot I disagree with Black Sabbath.
You're gonna make people think that you're playing to a track. If the keyboard is there and you don't see it, it doesn't make any sense.
And Glenn Tipton,
Why am I so angry right now?
because you are like me. You want people to be on stage, seen, heard, felt.
If you're playing, you're technically part of the band. Why are you not there?
While you're not there, and he was part of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, and didn't receive his on stage.
Now wait, is this a part? Maybe he's a shy dude.
Not this guy in particular, but
Oh.
I forget Black Sabbath's keyboardist's name, but he is on most of their albums.
Yeah, and he gets it on his side.
He's everything.
Here, by the way, here you go.
Gold records, everything. He has everything handed to him separately.
That's nuts.
But it's like a ghostwriter.
Yeah.
Like whoever wrote, I forget the guy's name, who wrote Friday for Rebecca Black. That guy. I couldn't think of a good reference. That's the only one that popped into my head.
That?
I'm stupid. What do you expect?
Fuck. Okay, go ahead.
Now it's stuck in my head. That stupid Thanksgiving song. The same guy helped write.
So back to Glenn Tipton.
So Glenn Tipton is also responsible for one of the coolest moments in history.
Okay.
For some songs on a few of the Judas Priest albums, they didn't have a bassist to record on site.
Okay.
So they got a keyboardist to play the bass parts,
Cool.
which is great until you realize that the bassist couldn't play them when he went to
'cause
play
it
them
was-
because it was so fast.
Yeah.
So I think it's Between the Hammer and the Anvil. There's a build-up in there that he actually can't play on bass.
So what does he do?
He plays it slower. He just plays a version of it, but way slower.
Yeah.
And it sounds nothing like the recording.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
But that kind of stuff, that happens all the time.
And I have one more question about this song. Mm-hmm. Why those 3 lines in the middle?
To
It's
be
an
weird.
instrumental. It's
Yeah.
it's going, and then I'm like, what? First off, I'm like, what is he saying? Because it's so low.
I don't pull those lyrics because it doesn't matter.
No, I looked it
It's
up.
what does it say?
It's I don't know, something about God's right next to me or some weird, and I'm like, why? It's the same thing with that Metallica song. What was it? To Live Is to Die.
To Live Is to Die.
Well,
that was
you
a-
had that little piece in the middle.
Well, that was a poem written by Cliff Burton.
Oh, okay. All
So
right.
that I got, and that
Okay,
was
that makes
that
sense.
was very much
But yeah,
the Goodbye to Cliff.
Right.
That song.
Okay, but this, I'm like, it's so to me, it's a driving song because it's fast and it's
Yeah.
I'm on Grand Central.
That's
then
a
then I
racing
hit-
song.
I hit traffic and I'm pissed off and
Like we joke about Sammy Hagar just sing I Can't Drive
Can't Drive
55.
55,
Yeah, but this is I'm driving too fast in my car kind of song.
yeah,
It has that frenetic energy. It's
Yeah.
just pumping.
yeah.
And that is really Cozy Powell and Billy Sheehan doing all that work. Because I don't know if you know about Billy Sheehan. He's got one of the fastest right hands in heavy metal.
Oh, yeah?
He plays so fast. It's ridiculous. It's brutal and kind of gross the way he plays. Like it's so fast. It's like that's inappropriate.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next song because
All right.
I have so many questions.
Ooh, cool.
The next one is "Make Way" by Mongol Horde.
Yep.
And I immediately thought like, oh, we're going cultural appropriation.
No. Well, kind of. If you listen to
Yeah.
it's not.
No, I'm kidding.
No. The only thing he says is he jumps on his tiny horse. But okay, so we spoke about this. This is Frank Turner's hardcore band.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
I didn't want to guess, but this is so good.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to say, I didn't love the first 2 tracks. I didn't love them. The first 2 that you gave me.
Oh, okay. Okay.
River of Deceit by Mad Season. I didn't
Right.
love it. It's good.
Okay.
But I didn't love it, and I didn't like Talk Hands in the Air. It's not my.
I know. But, like I said, I like to pick songs.
but this got added to my rotation.
Okay. Did you listen to the album? No, you didn't.
No,
'cause you
not
didn't-
yet.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to dig too deep. Because if I dug, I'd find out information, and this is where I wanted to discover.
So this is Frank Turner. This is Matt Nasir from his The Sleeping Souls, which is his main band. Right? And it's his childhood friend Ben Dawson. He and Ben Dawson had a hardcore band. He was in a hardcore band before this called Million Dead,
Okay.
right? In England.
I think that's where I'd heard the name before.
Right. So he went back and Ben played drums for this. They recorded a whole album. Frank wrote it. And it's a joke. When you listen to the rest of the songs, it's hardcore. It's serious, but it's not. He has one of the I don't remember what track it is, but one of the tracks is called Natalie Portman's Tapeworm.
I'm glad I didn't deep dive this,
and it's because that was almost the one I put on here. I wanted to put the heaviest one I could find on here for you.
I am gonna deep dive this.
And Natalie Portman's Tapeworm. It talks about literally her tapeworm leaving her ass and living in the real world and finding out how terrible,
how terrible the world is.
Yeah. He starts an uprising. It's crazy.
As a introduction to this band,
Yeah.
you picked a great song.
Well, this is the opening song to the album.
Yeah, that's
The greatest part about this is I have turned on, me and my wife have turned on so many people to Frank Turner, and they know Frank Turner, the folk punk guy, the rock guy, right? So when this came out, I was like, I put on my Facebook or whatever, because this came out this is mid 2000s, 2013, 2014 maybe.
okay.
And I put on my Facebook that, I tagged all my friends and I said, new Frank Turner came out today. And everybody was like, what?
What is this?
And they, I said, but it's not under Frank Turner. You got to look up Mongol Horde. And they're like, all right. So I put it.
Such a weird name.
You know how many people went, what the fuck was that? And I go, that's the new Frank Turner album. Oh, I said, oh, wait, no, that's his side project. It's his hardcore band.
It's still very,
that's where he
very
came
good.
from. That's Frank Turner. That's where he came from.
I like it. I really I liked Frank Turner. I liked what you showed me previously.
Yeah.
Which I don't even think that episode has come out yet.
I don't know. I don't remember. I gotta look.
No.
It has.
It's no.
I don't know. We'll have to look.
No, we'll look that up later. But I don't think that's come out yet. But Frank Turner is very interesting.
Yeah.
And this is a different kind of interesting, but this kind of gave me the boot. I liked it.
Last year, he came out with a dance album with another one of his friends.
Like a
Boom, boom.
that's what I thought you meant.
Yeah.
As I started.
He's playing guitar. He's singing it. I haven't listened to it all the way through because even for me, I'm like, I guess this one's gonna take a little while.
I got a Pain and Salvation song that matches that.
Yeah.
I'll play it for you later. It's weird.
But this is
this was a really good intro to a very
yes,
very fun sounding
he's
song.
a very talented guy.
Definitely.
Really. And he puts on that, like I don't know if I told you, this was the last show I saw before the pandemic. This was December 2019.
So you really bookended the pandemic with interesting stuff.
Well, the last one was Mongol Horde came on December 19th, 2019. Yeah. Right? And nobody wanted to go with me.
Aw.
I had one ticket and I went by myself.
Aw.
Right? So, no, but it was great. It was great because I didn't have to, like my wife wasn't there, so I didn't have to worry about blocking people. And, there wasn't a friend there that I had to be like,
I gotta carry
can
your
we stand
ass
in the
home.
back? I was right up front. I was in the pit the whole time.
Are you an upfront guy?
Not always. I was always a pit guy.
I was never a pit guy.
See, I was always a pit guy. And I'd always, Mary Jane had to drag me out a few times seeing Life of Agony and stuff like that because I was always the older guy in the pit now.
Just older guy in the pit, just tearing children apart.
No, getting torn apart by them. And the new generation doesn't pick you up. They
just
kind
keep
of leave
going
you
over
down
you.
there. But anyhow,
Children, behave.
But this was such a fun show because it was Frank Turner fans, and Frank Turner fans are nice people to begin with.
Yeah.
But now you got the nice
The Canadians of heavy metal.
Yeah, and now you got the nice people who are watching Frank Turner in his hardcore band. But some of I gravitated to the older crowd. I hung out with a bunch of guys. We were just drinking beers and we were in the pit. But every time one of us saw one of us getting tired, they'd pull us out. We'd all be like, "Hey, remember when we used to do that?"
No.
Yeah. But it was a great time. Frank jumped in I have a picture. Frank jumped into the crowd. I'm like right there. I took a picture of him like right there. And I always meet Frank after the shows. I didn't do it this time. I left him alone because this was a hard show for him.
Yeah, that's a big push.
And it was a small. Well, usually Frank plays, bigger venues, right? This was a bar. I think it was called the Myrtle Hotel or something like that. It's right on Myrtle Avenue off of Broadway. It was a second floor. The J train kept going literally right past the windows.
Oh wow!
But it was great because it was a small. It was intimate. Right?
I went with a friend's band. They went to record at a studio on Utica.
Okay.
That was like that. Like it was
How do you record with a train right outside?
It was a truck route.
Yeah.
Utica Avenue is a truck route.
Yeah.
They soundproofed everything.
Oh, okay.
Like the windows were blacked out.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
They were still using reels in the early 2000s.
Yeah. But this was great because, like I said, it was great. Right, great show. At the same night this happened, it was raining. I go out to my car. I start my car. I didn't have this car at the time. I had a Kia Optima, and I go to pull out of the spot. I found a spot right down the block from it. It was great. I should have known something was going to go wrong. Oh, no. I go to pull out, and one of my belts pops right off of my head. So it's pouring. It's cold because it's December 19th. Thank God it was raining. Thank God it wasn't snowing. Right? But it was still cold rain.
Snow is my nightmare.
Right? I'm in my car. I'm sweaty. So now I'm sitting in my car. I can't start it for the heat.
And you're starting to freeze.
Yeah. So I had to keep getting out, walking around. Like there was scaffolding across on the thank God across the street. So I would walk up and down the block under the scaffolding to warm myself up, then get back in my car so I wouldn't get wet or too cold. And it was a Friday night, I believe, and the tow company was so busy, they didn't get to me till 4 in the morning or so, 4:30 in the morning.
Yikes!
The guy picks me up, right? He's like, "Oh yeah, come on." Now I'm in Brooklyn. I live in Long Island. He had to drive my car all the way to Long Island and drop it off at my mechanic's, where I'd have to go the next morning. I didn't get home till 6 in the morning. By the way, he gets in, and as I get in and we start driving, he's like, "Oh yeah, I've been working 24 hours straight." And I'm like, "What?"
That's the point where you go, do you want me to drive?
Like this the whole time I was watching him. As we're driving, because he's like, we'd stop at a light and he'd just go, "Ugh," and I'd be like, dude.
buddy.
Yeah. So needless to say, I didn't relax the whole ride there, you know. But that was my Mongol horde story. Last show before
the pandemic hit.
Coming back to the pandemic, we still haven't played No Bad Religion. That's my favorite band in the world. I haven't put them on any of these yet.
You will. I know they're coming.
Oh yeah.
I know that's on the horizon. I got no problem with Bad Religion. I have no problem with any of these bands. Later stuff, not this podcast. There's going to be some stuff later. You guys you'll see.
All right, let's move on to your next one.
So the next one is "Feel the Adrenaline" by Adrenaline Mob. I was having trouble picking a song. I specifically like the singing in this.
Is this their introduction? We're Adrenaline Mob.
No.
Hey.
No.
This is from Adrenaline Mob.
This is from their second album.
Did they sing nothing but about adrenaline? Because this was
Adrenaline and Mob stuff. Yeah.
This was about driving, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he's talking about a car very sexually.
Yeah. I liked it.
Yeah. No, it's a good song. It's one of those things where so the singer's name is Russell Allen. Mm-hmm. This is his side project from Symphony X, one of several. Bassist John Moyer from Disturbed.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't see that coming. Okay.
Yeah. The drummer is AJ Pero from Twisted Sister.
Okay. Oh.
Which is why when you hear the drums, they have that kind of reverby sound to them. So good.
So this is
Mike Orlando.
Older. Wait.
These are older guys, yeah.
Why did I think this was...
This is only from 2014. I'm sorry, 2014.
Why did I think this was Mike Portnoy?
Mike Portnoy was the first drummer for Adrenaline Mob.
Oh, he was on the first album. Okay.
Nope.
Damn it. I thought I was going to... This is Mike Portnoy's band. No, I'm wrong.
You thought you had it.
Damn it. I have it written right here.
Adrenaline Mob is really funny because they had a lot of changes over 3 albums.
Yeah.
Because the next album, AJ Pero passed away after this album, and their tour. And I forget who they got. I forget who was playing drums. And then their bassist left, John Moyer left, and they got my friend Dave Z, a Brooklyn guy. Mm-hmm. Dave Z, a member of Trans-Siberian Orchestra. He was in a band called ZO2. They went on tour with Kiss.
Yeah.
He's a fantastic bassist. He unfortunately passed away in a tour bus accident.
Jesus Christ.
This band was on tour
in
Florida, and their tour bus got hit by a truck. while they were changing a tire and killed their production manager and Dave.
And what did he play?
Bass.
Okay, so bassists shouldn't get out of...
The bassist should stay hidden at all times.
Yeah.
But Dave was, I mean, when I talk phenomenal, he was 40 years old when he passed.
And you knew him, you said?
Yeah, no, I knew him from Brooklyn days. He was in a band, October Thorns.
Oh, okay.
October Thorns was a progressive band. I know you're not a huge progressive fan. I mean, these guys were phenomenal. And their drummer played with Zandel, another Brooklyn power metal band.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the web of people who knew each other was gigantic. And everybody knew, everyone in Brooklyn who listened to metal knew Dave Z in some way, shape, or form. Because he was the nicest guy. Him and his brother were super nice. And he was always, I took lessons from him in the early 2000s. I just couldn't keep up with it because I didn't have the money.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't giving away lessons. That was his job.
Of course.
But he was phenomenal. And this band, this particular album was really cool for me because I love AJ Pero. I love Twisted Sister. And the second you hear the intro in this album,
Yeah.
it's like, that is the reverb drums of AJ Pero. Right off the bat.
Now, I wrote down, I love it. Says, I wrote down, I like it. It's fun.
It's a fun band.
The chorus was cheesy as shit.
Oh, this is going to be my argument. Russell Allen puts his heart and soul into writing for Symphony X.
Okay.
This is this you know, Twins. I'm the shit.
Yeah.
This is the stuff that's left over.
Yeah, yeah.
Like this is mostly like
Right.
dude bro fedora hat douchey shit.
Listen, I don't mind it. And then I noticed, was it doing this one? I believe it was doing this when I was looking for songs, right? I noticed that most side bands have cheesy ass, like almost like I'm throwing this together to say I'm in a side band. But
Well,
like you said, they don't put their all into it.
I honestly think he puts his singing all into it. But writing, I don't know who's doing the bulk of the writing, but I've had a lot of arguments about how I won't say cheesy, how I'll call it dude bro-ish.
Yeah.
The lyrics are. Because they're very dude bro.
Right. It's you know what it is, and maybe it's because I'm not a huge car guy, right? So when I listen to this, and I listen to like, I'm gonna bring up a Metallica song, but like Fuel,
Yeah, I get that.
right? And even I'm pretty sure on the new song he's talking about a car also. I don't know what Lux, you know, whatever the hell
Yeah,
he says.
I'm not.
I don't know what that is, but I listen
I'm
to
not up on the
you know,
terminology.
he's yelling full speed or nothing, and I'm going, bro, all right, I get it. I love the song.
Well, that
but-
could be a sex reference. You don't know. But he's getting up there. It's got to be. It might be full speed or nothing.
But it's but it's this song too. When I'm listening, I'm like, hey, singing about a car, dude. Singing about driving.
it's like Queen. I'm in love. Was it Queen? I'm in love with my car.
I don't know.
I forget what band it was that
I want
wrote
to
"I'm in
ride
love with my
bicycle.
car."
I want
No,
to ride my bicycle.
which matches with Fat Bottom Girls perfectly. Just that Queen, another band that can do very
Queen.
little wrong.
I love Queen, by the way.
Yeah, no, they're magical. This in the context it's just a fun song. Its topic I don't really care about. Like it's
No,
material.
I don't. Musically and even I mean, you know, I'm a lyric guy, so I when I listen, I'm like, if it's
If you almost take the lyrics out of it and just listen to his vocal
Oh, yeah,
patterns,
yeah, yeah. Oh, no, that's what I mean.
That midsection,
Yeah.
that
It's very cool.
Ghost flames running down the side. That is just pure soul singing.
But I notice a lot of people lyrics mean nothing to them. It's just another instrument, which is weird to me because obviously, you know, being a vocalist, it's the first thing I listen to.
Yeah.
And I listen to what you're saying. And if you're saying, you know, like I can't tell how many people I'm like, but yeah, and I hate to be this guy. Listen to the words, man.
I think
I hate being that guy.
I do. Well, a lot of the stuff that I pick has lyrical content. This is actually one of the few times where lyrical content across all of my songs means nothing.
Yeah.
The only one is actually my next pick has lyrical content that I find very interesting. But this one is really just a good song, and I love how he plays with, uses his voice as an instrument and really dances around the rhythm. And that's what makes it fun. Now, Adrenaline Mob they're fun. They're good. Symphony X is crazy interesting
Okay.
because it's power metal and progressive, two things you're in love with.
Yeah. No.
Well, it's like
Let's put it this way. I don't
you don't hate
it, but I couldn't take a whole day of it.
I get that.
You know what I mean?
I honestly think Symphony X would change the way you
Okay.
feel about that because of the way you love Iron Maiden.
Okay.
Because they write songs about everything
Yeah.
across the board. Symphony X's last album, Underworld, is a mishmash of amazing writing.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally stuff talking. Literally, there's a song about the Cells of Charon, passing to the other world.
Yeah.
There's stuff about finding glory. It's your typical power metal themes, but not all galloped and galloped and chugged away.
Yeah, yeah.
It's really interesting stuff,
Yeah.
and his singing is phenomenal
Yeah.
across the board. Even his Russell Allen has 3 side projects. It was Adrenaline Mob. He had a solo album called Russell Allen. Oh, I'm sorry, 4, 5 second side projects.
How?
Trans-Siberian Orchestra. He goes out with every year.
Well, that's an easy one. That's a Christmas time thing.
Yeah, but he does it every year.
Right.
It's him and Annette Uslan she's the former singer of Nightwish,
Mm-hmm.
the one she was in for one album and then gone, but she's a
Okay.
really good singer. And then he's a member of Allen and Land. Russell Allen and Jorn Land have 4 or 5 albums of duets.
Mm-hmm.
They're all just written together, two vocalists taking turns, just amazing songs, but all power metal and
Yeah.
kind of progressive-ish. But now I want to talk about
Okay.
this is the song. This
Okay.
is the song that made this playlist. This is the reason I was like, I am not finding anything about these songs until I find out about this, and I'm not looking it up myself.
Okay.
Because I wanted to hear it from you. This is Mariachi El Bronx. I'm going to say it the white guy way first.
Yes.
Mariachi El Bronx. I don't know where these guys came from. The song 48 Roses is amazing. I played this for my wife last night. She goes, "What is this? Why haven't I heard it before?"
Okay. So here we go. There is a hardcore punk band from LA called The Bronx.
Okay.
Right.
I've never heard of them.
Okay.
Which isn't surprising because I'm
Right.
not in that scene.
So they get asked, I forget how, I'm going to paraphrase this, but they get asked or they get, somehow somebody wants them to play a show, but they want them to tone it down. And they want them to, not play crazy. So what The Bronx did, now here's why this is a little weird side band thing. It is the full band, The Bronx,
Plus,
just a mariachi band.
but is
They
it they?
created a whole, and they added 2 people.
I would say they had to
They
add
added 2
a horn
people.
section.
Right? So it's The Bronx, but a completely different band called
Mariachi
El Bronx. And they're serious about it.
I-
This is not a joke.
No, you can feel this is not a joke because the writing is so good.
And instead of just a one-off, they played the show, this and that. They have, if not the same amount,
More.
just under, I think, or maybe more,
I think it's more than the
more
Bronx.
albums than their main band.
When I heard this, I was blown away by the musicianship.
Yeah.
Then I was also blown away by the lyrical content
Yeah.
and the way he sings.
Right.
And then listening to the whole thing, I'm like, this is what mariachi music is supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of writing, like especially this song.
Yeah.
It is so good.
So that's why I put it last, because I knew I wanted the
4 different lovers and 48 roses. That
Right?
is so.
Right?
That is so mariachi.
so that's why, and I was conflicted because it was a side band thing, but it's the whole band just flipped. They started their own side band. All the guys in the band started their own side band.
And it works perfectly. And I'm going to say this without listening to any other songs. With the intensity of this, if you enjoy this song, go seek out the rest.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is, I mean, phenomenal.
Yeah.
This is, it's I can't describe how good this made me feel.
right.
Like when you hear something for the first time, you're like, "Ooh, That's
yeah,
good.
yeah.
It was a tickle.
Yeah.
Is it, a little tickle? I'm not supposed to do a little tickle, but a little tickle.
It's on camera now.
I don't care. It's a little tickle. It's a little tickle, not a little tickle. Those are different. So this song hit me in a very fun way.
So yeah, there's really not much more to talk about. I mean, you can talk about the song, but I just wanted to bring that story of the band.
I'm gonna have to now deep dive both of these, both the Bronx and
Well, the
Mary
Bronx
Jo
is
Bones.
just it's a punk band.
So what?
Yeah.
Here's the thing: if these guys write this good this way,
Right. Yeah.
they have to write that good
Right.
across the board.
Yeah.
You're putting everything into it. You might as well invest, and it feels like they're investing everything they have into it. So I could kiss these guys' asses all day. They're so good. And I didn't write notes for this, because I had no notes.
Yeah.
Like I had no preparation other than listening to and enjoying these songs.
Yeah.
And Mongol Horde and this. I mean, I listened to the song separately from the playlist.
Just
it's
to
coming
hear
up in my rotation.
Yeah.
And it's in there permanently.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
It lives there.
Well, now look further. Look further into both of them.
I'm going into both, and
Yeah.
they're going to be added.
Yeah.
And now I want to talk about Motor Sister.
All right. The last two are going to be yours.
The last two are mine. I added one
you went
extra.
nuts. Yeah, you went nuts and added them.
The song "Fool Around" from the album Ride.
Didn't like it.
Really?
No. Musically, I liked it.
Lyrically, you didn't?
How do I put this? I don't like when you force like sexy stuff into it. It just sounded forced to me.
See, my wife and I disagree on the meaning of the song.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because I think it's like she thinks it's a guy and a girl.
Right.
I don't think so. I think this is two guys.
Really?
I think it's like, dude.
It's a down low thing?
Like, no, it's not even a down low thing. It's like these two guys are hanging out. One guy's letting his feelings out.
Right.
He's letting the other guy know he has feelings for him. And he's like, oh. And the guy gets super embarrassed and borderline suicidal. You've been misled. Get that gun away from your head.
Yeah.
That idea is like, hey, man, no, it's not that I don't care about you. It's just that I'm not feeling that way.
Right.
And it's not a sexual thing. And he's like, if it'll make you feel better,
Right.
I'll go along with it. Now,
Okay.
I always like,
Really? Now I have to listen to it. That you're gonna make me listen to this again.
I took it as like when I heard it, I'm like, this is a good song. And I listened to the lyrics, I'm like, I think this guy just came out to this other guy and he's not taking it well. Like not the guy who is politely rejecting.
Yeah.
The guy who's kind of like no,
Yeah.
is saying I'm not really into that, and the other guy's losing his mind about it. Which, be honest, that's anyone's greatest fear is telling somebody that you care about them and them not responding well.
Yeah, yeah.
And amongst friends, the greatest fear is losing a friend over losing a friend.
Right.
They try to make a change. Anything between guys and girls in our world, in the the cis normal hetero world, is you lose friends when you make moves.
Yeah.
Either way, you lose a friend. Either they're going to accept it and you're going to move to another level, or they're going to reject you and you feel like you've overstepped a boundary.
just not said anything.
You should
Yeah.
have kept it to yourself.
Yeah.
And I always felt that this was that song.
That is an interesting way to look at
The
it.
way my wife looks at it is that Pearl Adair is the female singer in this.
Okay.
That's Meatloaf's daughter.
Really?
Scott Ian's married to Meatloaf's daughter. Did I just
No idea.
Did I just learn you something?
Learned something.
Woo!
That's really?
Yeah, Pearl Adair is the daughter of Meatloaf. And she married Scott Ian in the early 2000s, I believe.
Okay.
And she's the female singer on this. She's heavily involved in getting this band together.
Okay.
Because, like we were talking about, this band is actually the singer from Mother Superior.
Yeah.
Who she got to play Scott Ian's 50th birthday.
Right. That's the way this band started, right?
Yes, it started as a birthday party jam.
Yeah. Because I read that. And then they decided to. Now, so there are people from Mother Superior in this band.
Yes, singer and I believe drummer.
Okay.
But the bassist is Joey Vera from Armored Saint and Fate's Warning. I don't know why you just made that face. Armored Saint is amazing.
I know. We listened to him on the way over. It's just the John Bush thing. I know.
I know you don't love John Bush the way I love John Bush. Nobody loves Bush quite the way I do. But my big thing is like the guitar playing is just straight rock and roll. It's not trying to be heavy. And in this, it's that slow kind of almost 50s style, like like droned out chords.
Listen, this was my least favorite one on the list.
So from my least favorite was Tall Cans in the Air.
Yeah.
Your least favorite was Motor Sister.
Yeah.
And now we're going to talk about the final track.
Yeah.
Geezer. You can't really disguise who it is because his name is the name is the band.
Right.
But
what confuses me is what was the GZR?
Okay, so when he's
because I just wanted to say it's GZR and Geezer.
Well, what happened initially is the first albums were released as GZR.
Okay.
And then
I couldn't say his name.
I don't know. Like they were trying to be interesting and smart about it. So the first album I think had Phil Anselmo and a couple other people singing on it.
Yeah.
The second album, this configuration of the band was everyone. And then the third album I didn't like. I just didn't even look into it because it was okay, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
But this album is Mysterions. This is from Black Science. You can look it up by either GZR or the name Geezer. It's from 1997.
Oh yeah, that's
yeah.
Okay.
It's old, but it's not that old.
Yeah.
This is one of those bands.
Yeah, tell it to my kids. 1997 might as well have been freaking the 1800s.
You ready? You ready for this lineup? So Geezer Butler on bass and keyboards.
Okay.
So he's playing keyboards on this. Pedro House on guitar, who I've never heard of before or since.
Right.
Clark Brown on vocals, who I can't think of a singer like this before or since. He's so good. And then Dean Castronova on drums, famously from Ozzy Osbourne and Journey.
Right.
This is the drummer for Journey.
Right.
And I have jokes about Dean Castronova that I'm not allowed to say on this podcast.
Oh, okay.
He was arrested years ago. And my dad's like, "Oh, what happened?" I said he was arrested for sexually assaulting his wife. And my dad's like, "That's messed up." And I said, and as they were wheeling him out of the house, in handcuffs, he was screaming, you can't attack property." And my dad's like, "He really said that?" I'm like, "No, he didn't say that." Just to see if my dad would react.
He did.
My dad was like, "Really?"
So, all right, you're gonna hate me again.
You didn't like this?
It's always boring.
Okay.
It doesn't. There's no build.
Well,
it stays that one level and it never goes anywhere.
I put it on this list and then I immediately regretted putting this song from this album on this list.
All right.
There are other songs that are better than this.
Yeah.
This is just my favorite song
Okay.
from this album. I also didn't want to throw like
not that it was bad.
You just didn't like it as much.
It just only because it didn't go anywhere.
Yeah. There's Evil Elvis is actually another one of their songs I think I could have used. It's amazing.
Yeah.
When we're done with this, I will play it for you.
Okay.
And the other option was Among the Cybermen, which is a Doctor Who reference.
Okay.
Apparently, you don't watch Doctor Who?
No. I'm a nerd, but I'm not that much of a nerd.
I'm not much of a nerd. Well, anyway, so but you knew who the Cybermen were.
Huh? Yeah.
So
I know.
you know of it.
I don't watch.
Well,
I have to at
without
least be able to have a conversation.
Without being able to judge, you were able to identify Cybermen. It is an awesome song.
Okay.
That you don't need context for.
Yeah.
That's the thing that Geezer's known for, being able to write without giving you a history lesson or an education.
Okay.
And I think with these songs, he really did a great job.
Yeah.
And this song in particular has this droning, you forget that this was written by a bassist.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing. These songs were written by a bassist. And they're not bass oriented. They're not, there's no weird focus on bass work or accentuating it. He wrote music. Mm-hmm. And in writing those songs, he specifically made it accessible to any kind of musician. And I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
And same thing with Black Sabbath. His writing in Black Sabbath, he doesn't write for the bass. He writes for the song.
Yeah.
But that's also because he's a guitarist. Mm-hmm. He by definition, he considers himself a guitarist who happens to play bass.
Bass, yeah.
Which is, feeble finger reaching always to be like Geezer. Listen, if you're a bassist and you play, I'll say anything hard rock heavy metal,
Yeah.
and you're not trying to be like Geezer Butler,
Yeah.
you're messing up.
Oh, okay.
Like he's amazing, and he's inspired every bassist. I'll say since 1974.
Yeah. All right.
You know,
I gotcha.
if you've ever heard a Sabbath album and you didn't go,
Yeah.
maybe metal's not for you, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But you like something Black Sabbath.
Well,
you may not
it's-
love Ozzy, you may not love all of their stuff, but you've liked something that they've done.
But these are things that I almost call it the building blocks.
Yes.
If you didn't like that, you know, like I always tell people, they're like, well, you were into metal and then you went, you know, punk and hardcore and ska. And I went, yeah, but that's my foundation.
Yeah.
I love that shit. I always will. And I still, you know, like you say, like sometimes you play stuff on the way over here and I'm like, ooh, all right, I'll give that a, you know, and it's on the metal side. And, you know, I haven't abandoned it.
Yeah.
But I think, like you said, if you don't like that stuff, even if you got to respect it.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, like people like
Well, my
I don't
distaste for Zeppelin
okay, go ahead.
and my distaste for Rush.
Okay, well we got one.
We have
together.
that in common.
And Rush and Kiss. I don't. Right?
I forgot how much I hate Kiss.
Yes. So that's. I respect what they do. I'm not gonna. I would never say they suck. That's the thing. Is that people don't get it right. They go, "Oh my God, how could you not like Kiss or how could you not like Rush?" I'm like, I just don't like it.
Yeah, there's no insult to their abilities.
Right. In the Kiss thing, I don't like the theatrical. Oh, you know, I'm the demon. Ugh, dude. You know, and on the Rush side, I don't know. It's just, and now Mike gave me a respect for Rush.
There's
You know,
there's a respect there, definitely.
Right. But I wouldn't put an album on.
Yeah, it's just not in your rotation of music, and that I can understand and respect that. But if you don't like Black Sabbath, you can go to hell. really, go just go to hell. eat a bag, a whole bag of them. Get out of here. It's Black Sabbath. Now, not liking Ozzy, I get it.
Right.
Not liking Dio's Black Sabbath, I get it. You're wrong, but I get it. Black Sabbath, those first albums, if they're really like you said, they're the you call them building blocks, I call them pillars. They're the pillars that heavy metal are built upon.
Right.
Now, unfortunately, heavy metal is not only built on Black Sabbath and Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
It's built on Led Zeppelin and Jimi Hendrix
And even and damn it, what's the name of that? Whatever.
and the Who and the Stones.
Right.
You know, it's built
What
off
was
of
that
rock
band-
and roll.
What was the band that's the first time they said heavy metal was Heavy Metal Thunder? Head out on the highway. What the fuck song is it? Why am I drawing a blank?
I forget who sings "Born to Be Wild."
Yeah.
And my brain just went question mark on the Mysterions, and it's not.
Mike, I know. Oh God, Mike is gonna yell at us.
We should call him.
He won't get on.
I know he won't get on. But yeah, no.
Anyway, that yeah.
The first references to heavy metal,
Heavy
the
metal
terms
thunder,
heavy
right?
metal. He's the first person who said it in a song.
Yeah.
But the first time it was talked about was actually Rolling Stone talking about a Hendrix concert. It sounded like a million pieces of heavy metal falling from the sky.
Ah, okay.
And I'm not a huge Hendrix fan. I'm a fan of the style.
But you got to think of the way it sounded back then.
And that's the thing. Hendrix is a phenom. He's an icon, and he deserves every bit of accolade for what he did and how he did it. Unfortunately, he passed very early in his life. He was 27.
I think so. Yeah, I think he's 20 at 27.
26,
crew.
27.
Yeah.
It's terrible. But his just in that short amount of time, he created music that's going to live forever.
Right.
Stevie Ray Vaughan is a disciple of Jimi Hendrix. Eric Clapton and Jimi Hendrix, you know, they loved each other. They loved their styles. Clapton changed his style to work towards Hendrix. You know, he adapted.
Yeah.
And I don't care what anyone says. He changed to match Hendrix. Hendrix did not change to match him.
Okay.
And you can feel it because if you listen to early Clapton, it's really good.
Yeah.
There's no denying he's another guy who will sit in the annals of history as being amazing, as being Clapton is God written on the wall. But he's changed, and he changed because other people influenced him. Stevie Ray Vaughan changed because other people influenced him.
Yeah.
And one of those people was definitely Jimi Hendrix. And Jimi Hendrix, like Black Sabbath, like Led Zeppelin, and I'm even the old blues guys, they all affected heavy metal.
Oh well, it all builds from that.
It all builds from
that.
blues and
Yeah.
and even some of it from Dixieland jazz and the southern
Right. You can hear it. If you don't hear it, there's something wrong.
Dixieland jazz, Delta blues, all that stuff built up, and it became the metal that we grew up with.
Yeah.
And like Geezer was very in touch with writing along those lines in the 60s and 70s, and Tony Iommi all through. A lot of these bands, they can't say that they weren't influenced.
Right.
You know, you and I were influenced by Iron Maiden, by Judas Priest, by Black Sabbath, by Metallica, by Megadeth. For me, I took a lot of my playing from Geezer, and I don't sound like Geezer.
Yeah.
And I wish I did. Every day, I sit there before I plug my bass and I go,
Come on, this time.
I just want to sound like
This
Geezer
time
a
I'm
little
going to
bit.
sound like Geezer.
I just want to sound like Geezer a little bit, just a little bit, just a little. And I've been told I play like Steve Harris. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not that good. I will always say I'm not that. I'm nowhere near it. I'm not even trying. I want to be. If I could be a combination of Geezer Butler and Steve Harris, I would die happy. I'm going to die mad because I will never be that good. They are phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know, Steve Harris is almost in his 70s. Geezer's in his 70s. I can't play on their worst day. Isn't even close to being as bad as my best day. And with that, I think we should end it.
Yeah, man. That was a good one. I
That was
liked
a good
it.
one. We'll see if this works video wise.
Yeah, we'll try this. I'm looking. Hi, bye. I don't know.
We're awkward as shit.
Yeah,
Now that we know there's a camera in the room, we're gonna shut the fuck up.
yeah. I was very fidgety today. I was fixing the mic. I never do that.
Well, my mic is actually slowly sinking.
Is it? I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's why I keep. I'm hurting my back. I'm sinking down. I'm gonna get this thing fixed for the next one.
All right.
That's gonna be it, and let's keep it going.
Yeah, man.
Until next time. Take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. I love you.
I love you, man. Hail Halford.
Hail Halford. Later, guys.